Hi, welcome to day one of Arch Madness. We saw two games today. The first game was Indiana State versus Evansville. Evansville had full control of the game early on, but Indiana State gave them a run for their money at the end. However, Evansville prevailed and won the game.
The Evansville Purple Aces took on the Indiana State Sycamores in the first round of Arch Madness, and it was all aces early on. Here's Jalen Brown shooting a three outside the arc. But Indiana State kept it close, though, later in the game. Here's Niels Boonscoten putting in the easy layup, and TJ Bells will take the feed and put in a layup of his own to bring the Sycamores within 6. However, the Aces would pull away, and they were led by Jalen Brown. He had 27 points tonight. Here he's taking the feed to put in yet another 3 in the game. TJ Bell would throw down a dunk later for the Sycamores, but it was not enough, as Evansville would eventually win 83-72. Brown also added 8 rebounds, and Brenton Scott added 17 points for the Sycamores. The Aces move on to play Illinois State in the second round.
RSL reporter Dylan Conover sat in at the press conference to hear what the coaches had to say.
Here at the Scott Trade Center behind me is Bradley University and Drake University in the second game of the opening night of the Arch Madness Conference Tournament. I just got out of the press conference for the first game, Indiana State and Evansville, where Evansville beat the Sycamores 83-72. In that press conference, Greg Lansing, head coach of the Sycamores, said he was disappointed in the team's effort and said that it was pretty symbolic of the season as a whole. And on Evansville's side, Marty Simmons said he was thrilled that the Purple Aces get to advance and play the #1 seed, Illinois State Redbirds. That game is tomorrow at noon. For the Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Dylan Conover.
I'm here with RSL reporter Nick Schultz to give an analysis of the game. So Nick, Jalen Brown and Dwayne Gibson, they had the most points. Tell me about how they played.
Yeah, they had control of the game for Evansville. I mean, Jalen Brown played 39 minutes in a game where they're going to face Illinois State next. He flirted with a double-double. He and Gibson both flirted with double-doubles. Brown had 27 points, 8 boards. Gibson had 20 points, 7 rebounds. Gibson, by the way, averaged 7 points a game coming into this game, so that was a little bit of a surprise to see him set up there and score 20 points in the tournament.
Now tell me about the free throws. They had a lot of free throws. Was that unusual for Evansville?
Yeah, free throws was the difference in the game, really. Evansville could have really, it was a 9-point game, but Evansville could have really put it away there. They shot 27 of 44 from the line. A little bit of foul trouble there from Indiana State, whereas the Sycamores shot 17 of 20 from the line. There was one point in time where Indiana State actually had as many free throws made as field goals made. So that gives you an idea of how well they were shooting from the stripe. And then for them, Brenton Scott and TJ Bell stepped up as well.
Now, how do you think they're going to match up tomorrow against Illinois State?
Illinois State's a talented team. They're Dan Muller's coach of the year for a reason. They're number one seed for the first time in a while, and I think Illinois State's going to run away with it, honestly, but that's just my opinion.
Game 2 was Bradley versus Drake. Throughout the game, there were a lot of turnovers and it was back and forth, but Bradley eventually prevailed over Drake.
In the second game of Arch Madness, 7-seed Bradley University took on 10-seed Drake University. The team stayed close the whole game, trading baskets for most of the first half. Despite poor shooting from both teams and a combined 15 turnovers, Bradley took the halftime lead 31-26. The Braves would put their foot on the gas from there, shooting over 50% from the field and cruise to a 67-58 victory.
RSL reporter Trisha McCulley has a game recap as well as the press conference with the Bradley coach talking about how their young team got the win over Drake.
Game 2 of Arch Madness. Here in St. Louis, Bradley University took on Drake University, beating them 67-58. Bradley is a young team and started 4 freshmen today, and head coach Brian Wardell said although it wasn't a pretty win, he's happy with what his team was able to accomplish today and gives most of the credit to the defense. The team is excited to take on #2 Wichita State tomorrow and knows it'll be a tough competition, but is going to bring their all. For the Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Trisha McCauley.
And I'm here with RSL reporter Henry Redman. So it was a sloppy game. There were a lot of turnovers. How do you think Bradley eventually got that win?
They just kind of grinded it out. They shot 35% in the first half, but then in the second half picked it up to over 50%. They just kind of found their rhythm, and Drake obviously didn't. They finished the game with 16 turnovers and 23 fouls. They just couldn't put it together.
Now, how do you think a young team like Bradley is going to match up against Wichita State tomorrow?
Wichita State is also a young team after losing their 2 best players last year, but Wichita State is ranked number 21 in the nation for a reason. They're incredibly talented, so I don't think Bradley is going to match up at all with Wichita State, but we'll see.
All right. Well, that's it for day 1 of Arch Madness. Come back to us tomorrow to get a full recap of day 2.